You're watching Drake Wing Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Hey guys and gals, Never here from Drake Wing Gaming. And 70 miles toward the gaming drag today. I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Angels With Scaly Wings, Adine's Path. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go. Alright. I'm back! Hey, is that your number? She held up a piece of cloth with a large number printed on it. A few straps are hanging from it. What? This? No, of course not. This is Angel's number. Of course. Sorry for the mistake. I'm one of the last to start, actually. Are we late? No, I guess the others just arrived earlier to have more time to get ready. What do you think about the other competitors? I've seen most of them fly before. Some are really, really good. It doesn't seem like there are many newcomers here, so right now I'm the odd one out. Maybe you could use that to your advantage. How so? Well, you know more about them than they do about you. Having a promising newcomer there might throw them off their game. I'm not so sure about that. After all, it's not as if any of our already choreographed performances would change based on what others do now. Each of us just tries to do their best. And most of them are seasoned flyers, so they already know how to deal with that kind of pressure. And if anything, I'm the one who might get nervous and mess up. I do have one advantage, though. I'm still pretty young, and this is a sport with a great amount of wear and tear. There comes a certain point in time when you just can't perform as well anymore as you used to. Many complicated maneuvers can only be performed by younger athletes. The older ones can make up for it using their experience and with better execution of easier moves. In the end, a daring newcomer like me could surprise the audience and the judges with something new and unexpected, which is exactly what I plan to do. How good do you think your chances are? With a bit of luck, I might even be able to win. This is just a local competition after all. But you know what? Just being here right now and performing in front of so many people is a win for me. People will know me, and I'll probably get a mention somewhere in a local newspaper. I've trained for years, and my application to compete finally got accepted. Now I just have to make the most of it, and I'll be happy. I still hardly can believe that I'm here. This is the moment I've worked so hard for. And I'll be watching you. Oh, stop it! You're making me nervous. Sorry. Can you help me with this? She spread out her wing, and only then did I notice that her shoulder joint was tightly bandaged. What's that for? It's just a training bandage to stabilize my shoulder after that little blunder you witnessed last time. We can't fly with these in the competition, though, so I'll have to take it off. Okay. I opened the bandage, carefully unwrapping her wing. There you go. Thanks! She spread both of her wings, beating them a few times. I couldn't help noticing that the previously bandaged wing was sagging noticeably compared to its counterpart, as if it were misaligned. She seemed to be examining her shoulder, somewhat lost in thought when I spoke up. Are you sure you want to do this? Yes, of course. Why wouldn't I? I can see you're straining without the bandage. I'm fine, really, don't worry about it. If you're fine without the bandage, how come you were wearing it up? How come you were wearing it up just now? Did you need it for practice too? If you couldn't practice without it, maybe you aren't ready to compete without it yet. Since when are you suddenly an expert on flying? I'm the one who has been doing this for years, not you. This is my dream we're talking about. Do you want them to see you in this condition and judge you based on that rather than when you're at your best? I just have to try, you know? What if something goes wrong, though? You don't want to be in that position. If I start making excuses now, maybe I'll never stop. I'll always be too nervous or too injured or didn't eat right the day before. I feel bad enough as it is. Right now, I have the chance to do this, and if I don't take it, maybe I never will. I'll just always be a server and delivery girl making minimum wage. Is this one chance really too much to ask for? No, but it doesn't have to be right now. There will always be another year. They've never seen you compete before. If you fly now, they'll judge you based on this performance. You only have one chance at making a first impression. You know it won't be your best if you fly right now. If it's not good enough, maybe they won't invite you again next year. If you fly now, they won't accept any excuses. But if you tell them you're injured, they might let you fly another time. But I don't want to wait another year. I want to do it now. I trained so much, even with this injury, and you tell me I should just let it go? I just can't help thinking about last time. If you crash like that again, there's no sand here to cushion your fall. It'd be much worse. You think I don't know that? That I'm not already worrying about this more than I ever have anything else? I just don't want to make excuses anymore. I don't want to wonder if I'll ever amount to anything more than just a waitress. I want to be able to follow my dream, and I don't want to wait another year to find out. What about Emily? If something happened to you, how do you think they would explain to her that you just suddenly stopped showing up, huh? Don't you dare bring her into this. She has nothing to do with it. Like it or not, what you were doing could have consequences, and there are others besides you who will be affected if something goes wrong. You know what? I will fly and do the best damn job I've ever done, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. Before I could reply, she angrily stomped off towards the building, where by now a number of contestants had arrived. While I had failed to convince her, at least I could say that I had tried my hardest to stop her. I asked myself whether I even wanted to watch the competition at that point. It's possible that she'd do even better than I expected, but if my experience was any indication, her performance would not turn out well. In the end, I decided to stay and watch from the sidelines. I didn't want to join the rest of the audience, as I was sure it would get me unwanted attention. After the competition started, I lost myself in thought, thinking over the conversation I had with Adine while watching the other contestants half-heartedly. Adine had been right. Some of them really were very good, but based on what I had seen at her practice session, she did have a shot at winning if everything went well for her. Even though my rational mind doubted that would happen, for her own sake I hoped it would. One by one, the contestants showed off their skills in a variety of moves, usually followed by the applause of the audience. Eventually, it was time for Adine's turn. Next on stage is number 11, a promising newcomer who will show her skills to the public here for the very first time in her debut performance. Please welcome Angel! There was an excited bout of clapping. The audience was always curious to see a newcomer on the stage. After a few seconds passed, Adine still hadn't emerged. An awkward silence set in as the audience's applause stopped and everyone sat anxiously, waiting for her to show up. She never did. After half a minute or so had passed, the announcer's voice once more echoed across the area. My apologies, it looks like number 11 will not be flying today. Next up is number 12, a certain veteran you may know for his somewhat unusual technique. Before I could even ask myself what had happened, I saw Adine walking out of the building and coming towards me. Adine, what did you do? Let's just go somewhere else, please. Okay. We walked away from the festival and sat down under a tree in the outskirts of town. As the competition was already nearly over, the darkness had already set in. Here should be good. So, what made you reconsider? You were right with everything you said. When I was inside and I had a bit of time to cool off, I realized I didn't want to do it like this, even if I'd have to wait another year. How do you feel now? I know it was the right thing to do, but I can't help thinking that I just came so close. That I could have done it if it hadn't been for that stupid accident. You'll have another chance, I promise. Don't make promises you can't keep. Hey, Keegan, look at the sky. Can you see that light? The one that looks a bit brighter than all the others? I looked up and saw my many celestial bodies lighting up the sky. One of them was noticeably brighter than all the other stars. Yeah. I usually practice in the evening and stay until it's dark, so I see the stars pretty often. I noticed something about that one. It moves. How does it move? It looks pretty stationary to me. You won't notice it just by looking at it, but over the last couple of weeks, I've noticed that it has changed positions when comparing it to other stars. It can't be a star then. Stars don't move. They have an office in one of the cities that watches these kinds of things. I called them about it a while ago. What do they say? It's just an asteroid passing by. It's even been on the news a few times. That makes it sound pretty important. Yeah, it's a big one apparently. Otherwise, you wouldn't even be able to see it without a telescope. Do they think it's dangerous? Why would it be? I don't know. It could hit the moon or something like that. They assured me that's not going to happen. They say calculating the paths of celestial bodies is a very complicated science and not really an exact one. They know it's not going to hit the moon, but they're watching to make sure it passes safely. Not that just watching it would make a difference. They don't really know anything more. Apparently they're also really underfunded. The council doesn't see the need to waste people's time and money to look into the sky all day. That's strange, don't you think? It used to be a pretty important job, but over time the funding got less and less until only this token office in our biggest city was left. I see. It's such a shame since the whole institution was based on a creation story. In what way? And one of the stories our creator told us to watch the skies. How religious are you, really? What exactly do you mean? Well, dragons have these myths about humans. How many of them do you actually believe are true? Oh, I believe all of it. I just love reading all the stories, theories, and all that. Why's that? Well, I think there's a lot we can learn from it. How much of our society is based on it, including our laws and traditions. I see. Can I ask you a question? Sure, go ahead. What would you think if I told you that I am a time traveler from the future? Hey, don't joke about something like that. Why not? Because I'd believe you. Besides, if you're really a time traveler, I think you come from the past, like the time when we were created. Really? Why's that? Because that's the only time in our history where we know of humans ever being here. If you came from the future, that would mean humans were to show up at some point in our future history, and I'm not sure how or why that would happen. Wouldn't that mean that I was your creator? Well, not necessarily. There could have been other humans around, right? Your myths only mentioned one, though. Yeah, but people speculate, trying to find explanations for those old myths. Maybe there were more humans around and they just died, or their creation rebelled and killed them. Others say they fled across the ocean. We just don't know. What do you think? I don't know. I like reading about all the theories and trying to piece the puzzle together myself. That's why I want to visit the underground building we found. Some of the theories are quite out there. Like what? For example, one says that humans are really aliens who came from a different planet. They created us for some reason, then just vanished again. What will they do that for? Maybe it's an experiment and they're testing us. Some say they're always watching us from up there somewhere with a giant mothership, and that maybe one day they'll return when we're ready to join them. That is pretty out there, I'll say. I told you so. What about the humanity you come from, though? Why don't you tell me more about your world? I don't like talking about that. It's much prettier here. I don't believe you. It's the truth. I'll believe it when I see it with my own eyes. I'd love to visit your world. I don't think it would be a good idea to visit us right now. Why not? Do you know what our world is like? Are there any rumors about that? Not really. There hasn't been much speculation about that. Of course we're curious, though. Next time we want to send one of our ambassadors into your world to make it even and all that. I'm not sure if that's a good idea. Don't be so negative. I'm sorry, it's not up for me to determine the best course of action. I'm just a lowly ambassador, after all. Not quite as lowly as a waitress with nothing more than high aspirations. Maybe it's time for me to go home. I would walk you, but I guess you'd be faster if you flew. Nah, I'd rather not without the bandage. Are you serious? And you were going to do your performance like that? I know, I should have tried. You don't have to bring that up again. I'm sorry. For what it's worth, I think you made the right decision in the end. Thank you. Shall we go then? Sure. There we are. Do you want to come in for a bit? Would be a shame for you to have to come all this way for nothing. Sure. She opened the door, wiping her feet on the doormat before she went inside. Can I offer you something to drink, maybe? No thanks, I'm good. How about some TV? That could be interesting. I haven't watched TV in ages, and I don't have one in the apartment. You're right. You've got a pretty decent apartment, but they didn't provide a TV. I wonder why. Maybe they wanted to avoid culture shock or something like that. You got a shelf full of books, though. Why would books be fine, but not a TV? I suppose when they give me books, they know what I'm going to read, but on TV they can't really regulate the content I'm going to see. At least if TV works the same way as ours used to. That's true. Maybe they just thought your time would be better spent elsewhere. I guess. If they didn't want me to watch TV, they certainly never told me. Actually, there's a series on right now that could be pretty interesting to you. What is it? Well, I'm not going to tell you. Do you want me to put it on or not? Sure, let's do it. Adine turned on the TV and a brief flicker appeared on the screen before it was filled with the image of a house from the outside. Well, that doesn't look unusual. Just wait a bit. The camera cut the inside of the home while the chattering of small talk could be heard. And some figures entered the living room on the screen. They were grotesque, malformed creatures with rather cartoony proportions, covered in odd lumps all over their body. They all shared the same odd skin tone. It's clear to me that these figures were played by actors in obviously fake, bulky costumes that reminded me of mascots. What are those? Alright, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Before I go, I'm going to give a quick shout out to our lovely bronze tier patrons. Thank you all for what I do for the channel. We greatly appreciate your support. Thank you to our silver tier patron, Cade Silverman. Thank you for going above and beyond. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks to our two gold tier patrons, Zeke and Toby. Y'all are awesome. We love you. Thank you for subbing to Ultimate Tier. Anyway, if y'all want to get your names in the credits, get access to all of our not safe for work content as little as $5. Alrighty, I love you all, and I shall see you all in the next video. Bye-bye!